standard, and of course the technical specialist. It's an M5, bro.
Oh, he was?
Because he's such an old, old is the wrong word.
Yeah.
He's such a tenured player.
An ancient one.
Yeah. You can see. That's right, set up the Edith. Still one of the low-key heroes that, oh, I can't believe that came through.
Oh, one thing I realized.
Dude. Not first pickable though. Is this the Eve?
No, it's not the Eve. It's the one better than Eve. The S tier. Come on, we're right there. The Jushin is wide open right now.
Oh, for
It's so
Aurora.
free.
And that's what took him down yesterday.
Go ahead and pick it up. They gave
Juice in.
They gave the juice in, and there's the butterflies. Gets locked in. And now NIP Flash, they decided to play into this Jushin. But if I am them, you get the Cho now. You cannot give Cho Jushin to Aurora and Mlbb.
You can, but there's still, like, even if you take away the Cho, there's also the high loss that also works really, really well. So the question is, how do you want to approach the Jushin? Are you going to try and outrange her entirely? Which, again, not a lot of mages can do.
Or burst her down.
That's also an option, but she's pretty tanky, surprisingly.
Yeah, I think NIP Flash doesn't need to default into picking up something like an Eve. We've seen lineups with Eve struggle up against a lineup with Jushin. So if you want burst, maybe you can just hard crowd control and burst her down, either or Vex later on.
Or maybe they can set up a Sicilian.
I have one more pick that may or may not come out. I need to see the setup for it. The question is whether or not Demonkite is going to get a high mobility assassin. For now, the denial.
I was gonna say there's no way they Hylas Cho.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I said Joe, you said Hylos, and I was like, they're gonna just choose, right?
It looks like Coach MTB and Coach Dex are going deep into the clear ball. Did you see that coming? Would they have done that? Because Coach Sanate and Coach KCP are like, let's do it. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't expect us to do that.
They wouldn't see this one coming. But I think there's also flexibility in it as well, because Cho in the EXP lane also does pretty well. Now that we know for a fact that both Hilda and as well as High Loss are out of that pool, Cho next in line.
Diablo can. I'm pretty sure Diablo can play the Cho.
Cut back, they pick up third pick Benedetta.
Crazy mid Cho.
Who's going where? Again, that's always the line of thinking you have to get into when we're talking about NIP Flash. So Zagato Kacha for Renegade, one of his, actually became one of his foundational picks in MPL Season 14, and there's the Alpha paired up with the Jushin, strong combo.
I love this, because now there is a possibility for it to actually work. Farsa might just be the way to open up this game. The only problem right now is the GOA, of course, but inevitably you will outrange everybody on the side of Aurora.
They go Farsa for the pokes. Well, I mean, for Aurora, they are known to pick up gold laners that are a little bit more up in your face. Oh, but then if that's the case, Domin can default into his signature Claude, and that might make the Farsa
I don't
have
mind
a lot of problems.
I don't mind that, because at least with Claude, he's not lane dominant, and that's something that Vanix has been struggling with, just the laning phase alone. He's much better when you get into team fights.
Okay. Just to go into the Eve.
Still valid. If
still
you pick
does.
the Claude, you still need an answer to that. Still cutting right through the box.
And I gotta be fair here, because I've called it out in the past, but right now, the first three of Aurora look good against the first three of NIP.
And the Moskov is still at large. So
Yeah.
we still don't know.
Good point. Good point. I don't know. The second phase here is going to be really important, specifically for NIP Flash, because the fact is they allowed the Jushin to come out. They tried to take away the enablers for that Jushin, and I think at this point it just feels right if NIP Flash is going to default into a Beatrix or something.
That is a deep cut respect ban, folks, that NIP Flash did. They took out the Rafaela of Renegade, who Aurora were one of the first teams that did that, or I think. Oh wait, no, yeah, it was Aurora. When Eve was starting to pop up a bit more in FPL S14 playoffs, they picked Rafaela to counter it.
And I would not put it beyond Aurora if suddenly they bring out a Diggy too. One of the dozen and a half heroes Renegade played in Season 14.
That would honestly do a lot of work here. It denies the slow, it denies the initial kick as well from the Cho. Real world manipulation, who cares? Trespass the territory anyways.
Maybe that's why they took out the Hayabusa, because I mean,
Because it pops the egg real quick.
It pops the time's journey quickly if you're not careful. So, are they really considering it? I'd honestly want to see Edward maybe play a different hero. Because, okay, yes, we see the Cho Hylos and the Eve, but something in my mind tells me Aurora can default back to one of their best picks for Edward.
The Edith.
It's the Edith, yes.
Yeah. The Edith, and then you just need a good damage profile marksman, and all is well.
Yeah. Edith got a Jushin that spreads out your distribution of magic damage.
Beatrix is still free.
Oh, NIP banned it. Good call.
What a read.
Call. Very, very good call here. Again, in terms of the EXP pool, I wouldn't be too surprised if Benedetta ends up being the pick for Aurora side, because it's just a Swiss Army knife. When you got nothing else, Benedetta's like, I clear waves, I move fast.
Did we just mind link just now? The moment that Edith was banned, I was thinking, are we gonna see the return of Agent Zero?
Hey, it'll be even crazier. Instead of Benedetta, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna win this lane. I'm gonna play Yuzong.
Yep. It's been a while.
If this becomes the gold laner, then all the more I would greenlight the Yuzhong too. If you especially see who he's hunting down. We don't know what Maddox is playing.
It's probably the Beatrix here. It would make a lot of sense if it's the Beatrix. If it goes into the Granger, I feel like his scaling takes way too long before you get the initial profit.
All right. Is it going to be the gold here?
This isn't the Beatrix. I think Aurora can also play the Beatrix.
Both are actually pretty good for either side.
Yeah.
Fair.
A Beatrix for NIP Flash would help round out a bit of the damage problems that their lineup is having right now. He would be very good. And at the same time, you deny a very strong pick on the side of Aurora. But then again, Claude is open. Oh,
Juggler first.
Interesting. So they're going to give Aurora the first choice of gold laners as well. So now that you have the Joy, at the very least, the big issue is that Jushin, you gotta be real precise. Because as soon as you dash out of the way, and even if you have max stacks, you need to make sure that the Land Flare is on top of them.
I think Aurora is just waiting. Either they go Claude or Beatrix, potentially.
I think Claude is so good.
Oh, if they want to overload the magic damage, you can consider something like the Harith.
Can you box for Harith? Like, will that Zaman Force be worth it to drop in front of a, real world in a...
With the Alpha Jushin and Gata.
Maybe. You win. You suddenly turn that kill box into your kill box.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen it in WPH that teams aren't afraid to pick a Harith into it, but Time and Tides, of course, is the Beatrix.
Oh, it's a throwback to the Grand Finals combo! The Contra Beatrix!
Wow, that's interesting. I would have imagined that they might, if they wanted to feel a little spicy for Aurora, they might even go for like a Granger and really play around UA on the Zushin, slow your targets, pick them up, throw them down. But this, now it's very impactful. Slow your targets, boom, one guy's dead.
What I'm worried about is all on doming. It's all on doming!
All on doming, and this inadvertently puts a lot of pressure onto your Gata Kacha and Alpha to hold down the front line. As Kaja is more pick-off, he doesn't hold front lines. He uses Divine Judgment, dashes away, and says, help me.
Help me, please.
Somebody do something to this thing I'm lugging around.
Make this work. Oh.
Huh.
All right, I was fair. I gotta be fair. I am the known Moscow hater.
Yeah, you are.
For the Beatrix, once again, we can see the Hitman alongside the Doming. Still can't count out NIP Flash. I mean, just looking back at the previous, not their latest Grand Finals, the Grand Finals before that, where one more hit of their crystal, they're gonna lose. So you can't count out just anyone yet.
Can't count them out, but we are jumping into the Land of Dawn. Again, this best of one. It's the fourth match here at day number 2 of the Swiss stage. Aurora, Mlbb, and NIP Flash looking for that first victory in their standings. Of course, getting to that 1-1. And the team that loses this, we already know what's at stake for the teams that will be facing that 0-2 record after today is concluded. And with both lineups, we heard some of the strengths for both these teams. And honestly, for a lot of the fans out there that have watched Aurora Mlbb, they were probably pretty shocked at how things kind of resulted in yesterday. But before we talk more about it, again, I want to remind everyone the M6 pass is now available. Oh, hold on. It looks like, okay, they were making a play there. Just go. Grab that M6 pass while you guys can. Again, you can hit level 75 for free by completing all the tasks. And there's a whole lot for you guys to go ahead and grab. Of course, the battle emotes for Claude and Baksha. And the special skin, the Dauntless Shield for Baksha as well. Now, going back to the game here, there was a flicker burned, and a Purify that was taken out of it from UA. So that's going to set things up already early on. And this is the rotations we expect here on from both the teams. But really, let's talk about NIP Flash's lineup. Is this actually good to go against what Aurora Mlbb is trying to do? Play around the Divine Judgment that Renegade will eventually have?
I mean, it's going to boil down a lot, especially to JPL and Diablo, to provide a lot of vision for NIP Flash so they can play around, work around the threat of the Divine Judgment, as you mentioned. So, NIP Flash, we really need to see JPL, one of the veterans, to be active as possible, to roam around the map and get those crucial takes like this. Hades goes in to get the first blood onto Yue, but Renegade and Demon Kai just trying to go for Hades. 2 kills picked up there by NIP Flash, setting themselves up perfectly for an uncontested turtle take.
Yeah, uncontested. Edwards just going to be forced out there. Renegade 2 just chased away from JPL, man. Even when that Hades will get the turtle. So NIP Flash comes out getting a lot early on in the game, under the 3-minute mark. And that's going to be crucial here. Renegade has to deal with JPL. So again, Purify burned.
But real manipulation onto Yue, one more hit. But Yue manages to stay alive. Here comes the Lantern Flare. Now the counterattack. JPL will get caught by the Spear of Alpha. Demon Kai gets a kill, and now a pull from the Hitman onto Cortese. A double for the Smiling Demon.
And Yue survives the whole thing. There's a spear going to be thrown. It did land on Demon Kai, but you won't follow that from Vanix. But still, Aurora Mlbb was looking a little worrisome off that first turtle take and the 2 kills that NIP Flash got. But with that play, they even things out again. They bring it to the table where the second turtle is going to be up and they're going to be in a good position. The hardest part for that was, again, they're playing around the fact that the hitman, Renegade here, needs to have that level 4 available. And so NIP Flash did a really good job at making plays before they knew that utility was available. And now that it is, every time that flicker is there, or even just the Divine Judgment, they might try to make a play.
Oh, Glorious Pathway is still along with it, are revitalized, but Hades just doing with the rhythm of joy, trying to take down Demon Kai, but Demon Kai managed to stay alive here. The reinforcements from NIP Flash, real world manipulation was casted as well, but no casualties for Aurora.
Casualties, good thing Demon Kai doesn't go down. Also picking up the War Axe at this point. You know, he's got to be a little... This is the thing with Alpha. Alpha's still a great jungler for a lot of the teams that do decide to bring him to a game. But, you know, ultimately, you don't want to get too gapped in the jungle early on. And Demon Kai, so far, doing a good job at keeping toe-to-toe with a Joy. This Joy pick is picked up a couple times now, and especially with the Temporal Rain emblem, you know, you're going to be wanting to get those electrifying beats off quickly. You're looking to farm up quickly. And it's actually pretty devastating if you think about it when you start to build into these certain items here. So you can see this Hades already grabbing the Starlium Scythe. But you play around the fact that Curtizi has this Eve and you're able to set up that real world manipulation. It could be really devastating to deal with all that magic damage. UA holding down the mid. Turtle at half health.
Okay. Now Diablo goes into the Glorious Pathway. AOG is gonna miss onto the backline. Here comes Spear of Destruction. But Renegade is gonna fall down. Yue though, getting caught up by 2, manages to get JPL. Now the counterattack onto Vanix, but Vanix managed to stay alive. A 3-for-1 trade, and NIP Flash will win that clash.
To win the clash, you know, Aurora, Mlbb, they might have gotten the turtle, but man, they lose 3. Oh, Demon Kai in trouble.
Okay,
gonna have to get out.
Oh, Ring of Punishment. Is it going to be enough, though, Renegade? Does he have the ultimate? No, he doesn't. And NIP Flash, with the zoning of Diablo, will get a mid lane turret this early on, 5 minutes.
Yeah, great decision-making from NIP Flash, honestly. This is the team that has shown quite decisiveness early game, and this is one of the play styles that they like to bring to the table. And I think when you really count the fact that they're just making this kind of macro pressure already early on, Aurora Mlbb is finding themselves trying to catch up, get into a position where they're going to be able to go, you know, and fight toe-to-toe. They might get this bottom turret. Looks like that's going to go down. Domain does secure that. So it's really just kind of dealing with this pressure. You can see even on the top side of the jungle, Hades taking that purple. Demon Kai won't have that now, and still, you know, playing around the fact that Vanix has just been able to do his thing, farm up. Conceal's going to be used, but there's no one to catch from this, so Aurora will continue to look for what they can. They're almost forced to in a position where now they kind of got to stay clumped up. You know, they kind of got to stay together. They can't get caught out. There just seems to be too much pressure from the lineup that NIP Flash, whether that's a kick, you know, from JPL, whether it's getting cut off from that Glorious Pathway from Diablo. Playing around the fact that you have to get through those obstacles is what's making it difficult for Aurora Mlbb because, again, you just got to play off a Divine Judgment for the most part and let Beatrix for Domeng here to farm up and get the items he needs.
Yeah, just really play to their lineup strength, which is the pickoffs. Ideally, at this point, you don't want to go for those clashes because, again, there's just a lot of kit coming in from NIP Flash. They have the Glorious Pathway, real world manipulation. JPL has a conceal. Here comes the Glorious Pathway, but again, caught up by the Lantern Flare. A good kick from JPL, forcing out US Crimson Beacon. Here comes the AOG coming in from Edward, but they get Renegade, Yue, Domeng. 4 members of Aurora are gonna make it 5-0 wipeout for NIP Flash.
And in a flash, the wipeout, Aurora Mlbb. Without any contest in that fight, they just dismantled them, all 5. And they'll continue down the mid, getting the tier 2 at this point. You know, NIP Flash, I didn't think this lineup was going to be this devastating early on, but man, looking at the replay here, look at this crash down. Great setup, great kick from JPL. But then, even in that RWM, look at this, the Avatar of the Guardian right on the mark. How do you fight against that? Everybody just lined up in that choke point. You don't have any space to move. You're slowed down and dealt with, and you're taunted with the Unbreakable.
I'm not quite sure, but I think what happened was Domeng, the Cyclone Eye got activated, and when the real world manipulation was casted by Curtizi, he got caught off because of the Cyclone Eye. I have to look at it later again, but NIP Flash, 6.8k gold lead. 3 turtles all secure. No, 2 turtles have been secured by NIP Flash, and now they're just doing the cleanup here, all the outer turrets trying to get ahead against Aurora Mlbb, and in 40 seconds, this can go down bad for Aurora if NIP Flash secures a Lord.
It's worrisome because just like we saw from this, you don't want to fight here if you're Aurora Mlbb. You don't want to fight in these choke points of the jungle, whether it's your side or the opposite side, because of that situation that we just saw, you know, that crash down in the box. Look at this, 831. The Marksman Trinity achieved. Vanix has just been farming out of his mind.
Yeah, and apart from the Marksman Trinity, look at the level gap of the two junglers. Hades level 14 deep. That's a 4-level gap. Even before 9 minutes, that's how dominant the start of NIP Flash is. This is despite the fact that Aurora was able to answer the first 2 kills of NIP Flash with 2 kills of their own, specifically two Demon Kite. So far, NIP Flash, their decision, their decisiveness is really paying off because they're not thinking twice. If JPL wants to go, if Diablo wants to cast the Glorious Pathway, there's always a follow-up, and I have yet to see Diablo casting that Glorious Pathway defensively.
I don't think they are going to do that at all anytime soon with the lead that they have. And for Aurora Mlbb, who do you even target? You know, if you're Renegade, which is the proper target to get to? Because you're not going to reach Vanix. Vanix is not going to put himself in that position with the Smozkov here. And so you might just be trying to grab whoever you can, whether that's Kurt, you know, trying to grab him from stopping that death box being set up. But even then, he's got a flicker. He's going to be fine for the most part. So for Renegade, his job is very difficult on actually being able to focus someone down because you already saw that gap, even in terms of damage. Like, looking at this, whoa, man, Domeng is he's not there. He's not where he needs to be. He's not able to pop off on that damage that you're used to seeing when we were even talking about that combo of heroes with the Kaja and the Beatrix. So with that, the Lord is going to be started up. Aurora Mlbb can't do anything about it. They'll have to defend in the base here with NIP Flash. This is the thing. The lineup that they brought to this game, they can force a fight. You can try to turtle up in your base. You can try to defend into it. But with the fact that you have JPL able to go ahead and do those things that we always see that those amazing choke players do towards the wall, get a kickoff, but then you throw in a Glorious Pathway into it, it's going to be really difficult to deal with.
And I don't even think NIP Flash minds the Flicker Divine Judgment combination because the moment that they see it, Diablo for sure will cast that Glorious Pathway alongside the Real World Manipulation. But speaking of casting, he did it as well. Lord marching in the middle lane. Electrifying Beats coming in from Hades, trying to zone out the members of Aurora Mlbb, but Aurora will successfully defend their inhibitor turrets.
With that, again, I'm still thinking they actually want to press this in a little bit further. Aurora Mlbb, a little bit of health left on this mid turret. They're going to try to defend it. They do clear it out a little bit. Minions are going to be cleared out, so NIP Flash will go ahead and respect the fact that even with a Beatrix in the hands of Domeng, they can clear out waves, but the focus right now, this last tier 2 turret. And Egon, I'm thinking, you know, when even that next Lord comes up, I don't know if Aurora Mlbb is in a position to actually get in that position. You know, you might be trying to go with a Hail Mary almost at this point and throwing Edward into the winds, let him jump on in if they actually get in that position and they're actually confident that Domeng has enough damage to provide, but they're still holding off these waves. They're still going to clear them out.
Kurt got caught by the Lantern Flare. Here comes Edward with the AOG. Diablo pops his Revitalize. And look at Vanix just doing the free hit damage. Even going to take down Domeng as well. Vanix is still alive. Hades, JPL, they only lost Kurt, TZ, and Diablo. But Aurora, once again, this is actually a win for them. Because they were able to defend once again their inhibitors. They were able to take down at least Kurt, TZ, and Diablo. They did lose Domeng, but that was NIP Flash's sign of just going to dive in, try to get an inhibitor turret before committing to this next Lord.
It's almost like, you know, guys, we're 8,000 gold ahead. We should be able to get a base turret. But then they overstep a little bit. They do get punished, but they got a couple kills off of it too. They still maintain that gold lead and that domination that NIP Flash has been showing, but we've seen this earlier. Now, there's no Sicilian in this roster from Aurora Mlbb's lineup, but hey, they might be able to turn things around if they're able to continue and get pickoffs where they matter, where they count. But I think even then, NIP Flash might adjust, you know, from this. And I think even the Jushin pick itself has actually been able to turn games around if you're able to go ahead and get, you know, that beacon off properly, get the Lantern Flare, drag the right members in. But even so, it's still a huge, monumental task that Aurora Mlbb has to deal with. Lord is coming up, and NIP Flash with this massive economic advantage they have, they should be an easy Lord for them. And Aurora Mlbb, if they can somehow win a fight, it looks like they're going to set up for it.
And the thing is, NIP Flash can actually use the macro game once again. They have Vanix with the Moskov that can split push the opposite lane and eventually just cast a Spear of Destruction to be in the picture during a huge Lord fight. But here comes the conceal. Diablo commits a glorious pathway. They're going right after Edward. JPL onto the backline, wants to go for doming. Real world manipulation will be casted as well, but all of a sudden the Hitman is gone. JPL's immortality will be popped. That's a trade. Aurora is willing to take a roamer for a roamer. Slowly but surely delaying, extending this game.
That's a whole lot of ultimates down though for NIP Flash. You know, they still have the battle spells available, even the Revitalize. It's good that it was a roamer for a roamer. They might still try to go ahead and post this up, but even then, they're not going to commit to the Lord just yet. Those waves in the mid lane have to be managed. There's a good wave up top.
Oh, AOG to answer right back, but Demonkind and Edward is going to fall down. Doming and Renegade is left. Beautifully executed by NIP Flash, starting things off by Hades, going in with electrifying beats. Catching two, and I think NIP Flash, they're not going to wait for the Lord anymore. They can actually get an inhibitor turret down bottom. Hades goes in once again. Spirit Destruction going to connect. Vanix going to bring down Doming. Renegade left. 14 seconds before Yue responds. He's going to take down Diablo with him. No minions yet for NIP Flash, but Vanix just continuing to work.
They still got a couple seconds here. They can clear the waves out. Renegade's there.
4 seconds before Yue and Demonkind. NIP Flash slams the Northern Lights down south of the Swiss bracket.
NIP Flash coming out in a flash in this game against Aurora Mlbb, and they didn't let up. Man, oh man, this was an adjustment that they made, especially from yesterday, and this puts Aurora Mlbb and everybody supporting them back at home in a precarious situation, now sitting at 0-2, man. And it looks like, I mean, they're struggling. Aurora Mlbb is definitely struggling in the game plan that they want to bring to these best of ones. They really didn't have a moment for them, unless a couple pickoffs, but that's it. And it's back to the drawing board for Aurora Mlbb. But let's go ahead and throw it to the panel drawing board to see what they have to say.
Of Vanix, maybe just a little bit less of a Moskov hater, but at the right
way. So unless Renegade finds Hades, that's the only time Hades is ever in trouble.
The better question is, who does Renegade need to target to win this fight, right? Because your backline is already getting pretty much shafted at this point, right? You have to deal with all these quote-unquote soft CCs. It's hard to disengage. And not to mention that once Yue runs out of all of his cooldowns, then unfortunately, Domeng is kind of on his own, right? Yeah. He's expected to peel for himself. He's expected to have enough damage to deal with it. But when you are getting dove by so many things, and not to mention, when you have Vanix as well as Hades attacking with the same time, you gotta count your blessings here. You gotta hope that you're able to make that first move, and unfortunately, Aurora could not find the tempo in this game.
It just goes back to that idea again, right? Like, they couldn't make the first move for most of the time. It felt like it was either them reacting to something that's already been started by NIP Flash. And we go back to one of the key members that was almost missed out, but then was re-highlighted again, JPL on that show, that kick, dude.
Good.
Like, we lost our minds when he executed that. Like, we both thought that he was gonna kick somewhere around the closer to the tower in the mid. Suddenly he swerves, flickers off to the side.
I mean, he's really good at these fakes, right? He likes to show, oh, I'm going into a particular direction, flicker, completely separate separate angle here. But generally, I gotta give it to not only Hades, but also Vanix for playing such a strong